Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Lessons for Life from Swami Jagadatmananji's inspiring book Learn to Live, Volume 1, Chapter 1, Hidden Truth. Infinite power is hidden within you. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, one of the greatest heroes of Indian freedom struggle, says about Swami Vivekananda, I consider Swami Vivekananda a great soul because he gave us unprecedented self-confidence, self-respect, self-reliance, and self-assertion. Now let us listen to a heartwarming story, a touching story, an uplifting story of a Swami of the Ramakrishna order. This Swami, with a medical background, was inspired by Swami Vivekananda, and in turn he became a source of inspiration to many medical students under his care. Insight of a Dr. Swami. A Swami, who was also a medical doctor, told me, immediately after passing MBBS, I was appointed as a demonstrator in medicine. One of my tasks was to take clinics of third-year MBBS students, that is, to teach them how to examine a patient. I was assigned a batch of 13 students for a period of 6 weeks, which was later extended to 12 weeks. During this time, I taught them in the wards for 2 to 3 hours a day, 4 days a week, practically how to see the various clinical signs in a patient and interpret them. This was the time when I was myself reading Swami Vivekananda's teachings on faith and strength, and was feeling tremendously inspired and full of faith, self-confidence, and enthusiasm. The Dr. Swami continues, although I never did any preaching to the students about their innate greatness and potentiality, I quite unconsciously felt that each one of them was capable of better performance. This batch of 13 students was actually a batch of failed students who had all lost one semester because they failed in their previous examination. Like all the less brilliant students, most of them were less punctual and not up to mark in doing the assigned work, like writing the history of the case, etc. Yet, I, with all sincerity, worked with them, mildly encouraging them and loving them as an elder brother would. If a student was absent, I would, at the earliest opportunity, try to pay a little more attention to him so that he made up for all the lessons he had missed. Thus, I took an individual interest in each student. The result was that all the students passed in the next exam and continued to pass the examinations, and one of them stood first in class. I owe this success to the inspiration of Swami Vivekananda and the tremendous faith, self-confidence he instills in each one, in his own potential, working unconsciously through me. The important thing to be noted here, Swami Jagadatmananji makes this important observation. The important thing to be noted here, not only did the teacher have full faith in himself, he also had faith in the potential of the taught, in the potential of his students who were lagging behind in their studies. Many teachers may be brilliant, but if they look down upon the student as dull, worthless, and no brain, this very attitude of theirs has a negative influence on the students, though they may not have expressed their opinions explicitly. Now let us listen to Swami Jagadatmananji's discussion on this important subject, fulfillment in life. Compared to what we ought to be, our performance lags far behind our expectations. The truth is that we utilize only a fraction of our physical and mental powers. compared to what we ought to be. Our performance lags far behind our expectation. The truth is that we utilize only a fraction of our physical and mental powers. On the whole, man lives in a small region of the really unlimited expanse of his potential energy. Though he is endowed with great powers, not desiring to utilize them, he remains disabled throughout his life. So said the famous American psychologist Professor William James of Harvard University. Imagine a cow fastened to a tether on a vast grassland by means of a length of rope. The cow just moves a few yards around the tether to graze the grass. It restricts its freedom of movement by encircling the tether and thus shortening the length of the rope. Men too act within the limit they themselves set, not being aware of their infinite potentialities and possibilities. That is what the great psychologist Professor William James means by his statement. What a miraculous instrument our body is! What marvelous energy lies hidden within us! But we have been closing our eyes with our palms and complaining that it is dark. We have no aspirations in life, no specific objectives. We have no confidence in our own strength. We wouldn't like to work according to the rules of the game. We only want to spend time in gossip. How can we ever lay hands on success? A sage in his ripe old age, attempting a review of his life, it seems said, I have struggled hard in life. I have struggled hard in life. That is a review of life characterized by continuous effort, perseverance, and relentless activity, undaunted encounter with difficulties and privations. The success of our life depends on the way we live every moment, every hour, every day of our life. This is a very important point to remember. The success of our life depends on the way we live every moment, every hour, every day of our life. What would those who have always postponed decision making and hesitated to act say at the end of their lives? Oh, my time has been spent on useless pursuits. Somebody says, I followed only the mirage in life, leaving behind everything useful. Another one says, I didn't come up to the expectations of friends and made my opponents only mock at me. Another one says, though I didn't fail, my success is insignificant. Swami Jagdatmananji asked this question. Would you like to use such words to describe your life later? There could be many reasons why you don't have specific objectives in your life, specific goals in your life. You may not have been adequately trained to identify your aptitude. Ill health and weakness could be acting as obstructions to your goal. You may be by nature unsteady and vacillating and might not have pursued your goal with the necessary devotion and concentration. Or perhaps you have no interest in the job that you pursue or no proper qualification for it. You may not have had the opportunities to reveal your abilities and strength. You may not have had the opportunities to manifest your abilities and strength. Or the failure in several walks of life may have turned you into a pessimist. Or you may lay all blame for your lack of achievement on fate, providence, the position of stars, or your deeds in past life. Scrutinize the way of your life. Think carefully and set up proper goals for your life. Life without a goal moves aimlessly like a boat without a rudder. Swami Jagdatmananji concludes, scrutinize the way of your life. Think carefully and set up proper goals for your life. Life without a goal moves aimlessly like a boat without a rudder. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanam.